Okay, there we go.
All right. Hello, everyone.
Uh,
Um, so I guess introductions again. And then I brought the icebreaker question today, like we planned. So hopefully that's still a thing. um, does anybody want to start with introduction or?
Go for it.
Okay. My name's Jamie. Um, I majored in psychology with a minor in communications. I should graduate spring. I'll be done spring of next year, so that's exciting. All right, that's it for
Love.
me.
I'll go next. My name is Dyla. I'm a political science major. I should be graduating next term.
Nice.
That's exciting.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
My name's Tiana. I'm a psychology major, communications minor, and I won't be graduating till next spring either.
Yay. Maybe we can graduate together. All right. So, icebreaker question. Describe one past action, whether big or small, that improved the quality of your life. Maybe that's a good icebreaker question. Maybe not. I don't know. Um, I'll go first, I guess. One past action that improved the quality of my life. I've always been a people pleaser, and it's given me like the worst anxiety where I feel like I have to apologize for something that I don't need to apologize for, or that's not even a thing. And then like I just like work so hard making sure like everyone else is happy, and that really sometimes at my own uh, sacrificing myself. So learning how to not do that and like set good boundaries has been life changing for me, and not let the potential opinions of others negatively affect how like I view myself or things like that. I kind of make things in my mind maybe worse than what they need to be. So I don't do that anymore, and that's definitely improved the quality of my life. So I don't know who wants to go next.
I can, I guess. I can relate to yours though because my boyfriend's a people pleaser, and so I'm trying to teach him to not like feel bad all the time or like, So I'm working with him on that one right now.
Tough.
But something that I have done to improve the quality of my life since I've gotten older is to like take time to myself and take breaks, like just like getting out of places that I don't feel like are helping my mental health at the time, and just like leaving. I feel like that's helped me a lot because when I was younger, I feel like I just bottled up all my emotions and then like I just got to a point where I exploded. And
Yeah.
so, but I didn't like realize that I just needed to leave the situations and take time to myself and figure it out within myself. Um, but so yeah, now that I do that, I feel a lot better most of the time.
That's great. That's big work. That's hard.
I would say for me, I don't know if this really like counts, I guess, but when I don't know if you guys have watched the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once. Great movie, highly recommend. Overall theme of the movie is like really stuck with me. Like I watched it, I think maybe last year or like 2 years ago. But just kind of it gave me this like mindset shift of um like ugh, it's like a really big basically that like the universe is so big and we're like really small pieces of this universe, and while that can make someone like feel really insignificant and small, it can also empower you, and it serves as like a reminder like when you're feeling those big feelings, or like when I'm like feeling those big feelings, it is really helpful for me to like remind myself that like the universe is so big and what I'm feeling is temporary. And I am small, and that doesn't mean I'm insignificant, but it just means that basically like they're not to like be like there's worse things going on, but like there are worse things going on, and I know that I can get through whatever it is that I'm going through, because it in the grand scheme of things, it's just so small, and it's been really helpful for me.
It's great. It's nice to put things in perspective like that, where something we think is like a huge deal, which can't like discredit like your feelings. Like, oh, someone else has it worse. You know, sometimes people will do that where they think what they're going through is insignificant because someone else has it worse, or it's something small. But you still have to remember to give yourself grace with that, where
Mm-hmm.
it is significant. If something, but it's good to put it in perspective where it could be worse. Or we are small but significant. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
I always try to think too, like, is this really going to be a big deal in my life in a year, Like when I'm so upset about
Yes,
something.
that.
Yeah, I'm like, in a year, is this really going to matter? And I'm like, no, okay, then I
Yeah.
have to let it go.
It's like
Yeah,
you
I
have
do the same thing. I
you
do
have
like
like
in a day, in a week, in a month, in a year.
Right. Yeah.
it's like you have these like buckets of energy, and you can like choose where you spend that energy, and if you like drain it all out, then it's like, oh.
Yeah.
All right. I
There
guess
is
next.
another part before the introductions that says to discuss as a group a reminder of the established norms that worked in the last meeting and talking about if anything needs to be adjusted and if you want to add anything.
Oh, thank you for catching that. I kind of made like a layout, but I guess I missed that. I
No
think
worries.
everything's great. I feel like our discussions are really constructive, and I feel like we're supportive of each other, and I like that. Like I feel like there's like no judgment, whatever someone says. I feel like the ability to be open, or honest is like
Mhm.
really great. I don't feel like I've had very many like meetings like this with like other people that go so seamlessly. I feel like everyone feels like they're able to talk about what they need to talk about, and that's important. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I would agree. I feel like as far as team class projects go, this is like the smoothest one I've ever had. So I think everything so far has been working really great. I don't really have anything to add. I think keep doing what we're doing because we're doing good.
Do you have an opinion?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we all get along pretty well and we all can like bounce off of each other's ideas and everything pretty good. So I think the flow of everything goes really well and I think it goes good.
Perfect.
So.
Thank you for catching that. I apparently missed that part. So, okay. Discuss how a diverse ling that word linguistic vocabulary impacts mindset or worldview. I don't know if anyone wants to go first, or I feel like I talk too much, so I can go first if no one wants to.
I could also go first, or Tiana, if you want to go first.
Yeah, I don't mind. I'll talk for a second. I think having a good perspective and understanding of linguistics can really help you understand how other people function, how other people work, how other people grew up, how they were raised, their different, like almost like cultures kind of. I feel like understanding that helps you understand the person and understand their views on the world and um, definitely helps in conflicts.
I agree with that.
Was that the whole question? Did I answer that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I was like, was there more to it?
Do you want to go next, Styla?
Sure. I think the way that I think about this question is a little bit more like introspective. Like I'm looking at like the individual. I think that having a diverse linguistic vocabulary personally like helped me to um more accurately communicate the feelings that I'm feeling beyond like the basic like sad, mad, upset, happy, actually have this app called How We Feel, and it is like a you can like set up notifications and it'll send you notifications throughout the day, and it'll just basically ask you to check in to see how you feel. And um, there's 4 different categories, and they're all kind of on a grid, and there's like actually let me just pull it up. I really really love it. I actually had someone else recommend it to me. They're a communications major, so I was like, you know what you're doing. um, but you basically just kind of like check in, and then it gives you these 4 categories. There's high energy unpleasant, high energy pleasant, low energy unpleasant, and low energy pleasant. Then you just kind of click one, and it gives you a whole like all of these different options of different feelings depending on where you are. And it actually, I have like a really good example of when it literally helped me calm down. I was feeling like super, super upset about something. And I had to go to class in like 20 minutes from when I found out, when I got really unfortunate news. And I actually was able to like sit down and identify my emotion. And I thought I was feeling a certain way, but then I looked at this and I found the exact word that I was feeling, and then you like pick something. Like if you pick calm, and then it just asks you like what you were doing, if you were resting, if you were working, if you were cleaning, who you were with, where you were. It'll also ask you like if you worked out, what the weather was like, how you slept, and then it keeps that all together, and then it'll kind of show you like an analysis of what feelings you feel most often on what days, what the weather was like that day, who you were with. And it also will give you like video suggestions about like if you're feeling a certain way, especially like with those more like negative emotions, how to like deal with it, how to take like a step back and things like that. And so that really helps me. And I have also talked about with like other friends. I've had like conversations with other friends where they were talking to me about like they're like, I'm upset, and I'm like, hold on, do you relate more with one of these words? Let's figure it out together. And it's been really helpful for myself and for others. And I think that helps like our mindset and our worldview, because when we can get down to more of the root causes of our problems, it's easier to solve them. Because I could be feeling X feeling, but I'm actually like I could think that I'm feeling X feeling, but actually be feeling Y feeling. But because I'm trying to address X feeling, I'm not addressing Y feeling. Therefore, I'm not feeling better in there, and then conflict gets worse. But yeah,
That's
That's
nice.
cool.
You have something that like breaks down like how you're feeling, and yeah, it helps you find like the root, like
mm-hmm.
why I'm feeling that way. And that's great that you have that, like talking to someone and like you may not know like, oh, how like what's going on here, to be able to be like, pick one.
Yeah.
It's nice to have that. Go technology.
Uh-huh. I imagine it would also be really good with like kids. I remember in like elementary school, we used to have like an emotion chart, and that's kind of like the same sort of like vibe that the app gives me, like being in elementary school and having a teacher ask me like, well, pick a smiley face. It's like the smiley face and the frowny face and like the spectrum. It kind of feels like that, but more sophisticated.
Yeah. The adult version.
The adult version, yeah.
To me, having a diverse linguistic vocabulary, it has the potential to influence how we communicate in like a world sense that we're all connected, you know, and everything plays a role in the world. So it's important to be able to have a vast vocabulary to be able to talk to someone, you know, someone of like a different culture. You know, like we're all one, um, in my opinion. So be able to know how they talk, or like what their vocabulary might be like, or like what might be offensive, you know, or like culture, like where they come from, and being able to like hone in on that, you know, and like getting out of ourselves and seeing it from their perspective, maybe, or like what might be perceived in a good way, you know, like how we talk. I don't know. And I feel like there's like a lot of slang in each vocab, like in each culture too. So being able to have, I don't know, a vast linguistic vocabulary. I don't know, just knowing how to talk to people, because everyone's
Mhm.
different. Everyone comes from somewhere else, different backgrounds, different families, different, cultures. So just remembering that we're all connected is like my big thing, and how to talk to each other. I don't know if that makes any sense. It sounded better in my head.
Just kind of like understanding other people around you and like knowing how to make them feel better or how to not have something go south. Is
Yeah.
that kind of
Mhm.
like what you're saying?
Yeah. And like how we might talk to a friend is going to be different than we talk to, say, like a customer, from like a different culture, or something. Like we're going to talk to them in a different manner, right? And just like being able to tap into those different like vocabularies and mindsets, like this person might not perceive what I'm going to say the same as I anticipate, that a friend that I know might anticipate it the way I mean, just being able to
Mhm.
be adaptable in our communication, I think is huge. Like knowing, I don't know, what to say and how to say it, I guess. If that,
Mhm.
I
Like
don't know.
connecting with everybody in their own way.
Yeah.
I like
Being able to
that.
put
Can I add
ourselves in
a little
someone
bit
else's
to
shoes.
that?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Uh,
Please.
I as you're talking about that, what came to mind is like the importance of like knowing who you're talking to, and like I think everybody's identities plays a role into the way that they communicate. Something that I think about is like we think a lot about like the intersectionality of cultures, but then I think sometimes we um like even like I forget that like there's even intersectionality within cultures. Like I'm from Mexico, but I know that like there's different regions in Mexico, there's different languages, there's like all of these and even in the United States, like the way that like we communicate on the West Coast is going to be different than communicate on the East Coast or in the South, or in the Midwest. And the way that we talk to a child is not going to be the same way that we talk to an elderly person. And so being able to, like you said, have an adaptive communication style that is appropriate for the people that we are talking to, kind of plays a role, I think, into the next question of how it's a strategic instrument. I think being able to adapt in your communication also helps you better your conflict resolution skills, because you're able to address conflicts depending on the specific person that you are talking to, and their identities and their experiences, um, just like helps you get on the same page.
Mhm. It's like we have this toolbox that we're able to pull from, like
Mm-hmm.
more vast vocabulary or knowledge you have, of like communication. It's like, oh, I need this tool for right
Mm-hmm.
now, and being able to like switch it out, you know,
Mm-hmm.
um, when you need to. Like, I think I kind of melded both of those topics into one because I broke adaptability down. Yeah, just being adaptable, and like, it's nice this class having the tools, that we're learning, to be able to do that is pretty great.
Yeah, I think just like managing your conversations and knowing who you're talking to and knowing, right from wrong in certain conversations. Cause like with my friends, some of them say some stuff that I'm like, you shouldn't be saying that. But if they said that to somebody else, I would be like, yikes,
That wouldn't be socially acceptable in any other situation.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But just like knowing then like if you go to work, like you can't be saying that stuff at work. Like I used to work at a pizza shop, so I was talking to customers 24/7. And just knowing if I said some stuff to certain customers that I would probably get blown up on. But so just being able to manage, other people's feelings kind of like from what you say.
Some
Mm-hmm.
prevention, conflict prevention.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can like sense it, like
Yeah. Oh yeah.
all the body language, the nonverbal communication.
Yeah, I deal with that a lot at the pizza shop because customers would come in angry and I'm like, oh, how's your day going? What can I
So,
get for you? What can I do for you? I'm like, oh, I can help you.
I don't know how people walk into a pizza place angry, but
Yeah.
I
Or
think,
hangry.
yeah,
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 maybe
maybe that
that.
was
Maybe they call and apologize later. Sorry for
Yeah.
how I act.
it.
Mhm.
But
My
anyway,
family actually was visiting this past weekend, and we went to a pizza place, and everybody was really hungry, and we were all over the place, and we were kind of giving the person behind the counter a hard time because we couldn't decide what we wanted. We were all luckily we yelled at each other, not at them. But that was just so funny. People get hangry really easily, but
yeah.
It's actually the only time I'm usually ever really upset. Like I'm usually a pretty happy person. If I'm hungry, my blood sugar gets low. I'm like, feed me. I'll be good.
What I said last night to my boyfriend, he's like, "What's your deal tonight?" And I was like, "I really think I was hangry." I was like, "I had dinner and I think I was good after that." And he was like,
Feed
"Makes
me,
sense."
Seymour.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta love it.
All right. And then I didn't write like the instructions down like verbatim as what we're supposed to talk about. I just have podcast week 7 written down. So I don't know if you
It's
have Diala, if you have like what we're supposed to discuss, I guess.
yes. On my second monitor over here, it says to look back at either week 6 or 7, and it says why did this one impact you? I'm assuming that means choose one podcast or video from week 6 or 7, and then talk about why this one impacted you, and then share a quote and the central important information, and then connect to conflict management and perceptions of conflict.
Okay. I wrote down group mentality. I went off that this might not even be on topic of that, but group mentality, the baseball game with the Red Sox and the Yankees really surprised me. And group mentality is everywhere, in gangs, like kids that may not know what group to get in, so they get in this group over here and it's not a good group, but they all act the same, they feed off each other. The siding identity, how that lady, well, she just decided because, everything was getting heated just to put on the baseball cap for, I think it was the Red Sox. And then everyone just turned on her for a hat. And it's like, so then she, had that siding mentality where or siding identity where she felt like she needed to side with them and like defend, the Red Sox, even though she literally could care less. Just like how hostile, like people become over something so insignificant, something that's supposed to be like a happy, like team, like woo, and it just goes to show like how just cruel people can be. Like, why are you going to just be so disrespectful? Like, being disrespectful towards her mother, like that lady or whoever was like attacking her, Yankees fan, was even talking bad about this lady's mom, and it's like, why are you bringing, like, people just dig deep, into this, like,
Mhm.
I'm superior over you because I'm a Yankees fan, even though this lady, Red Sox, not a fan, could care less, but wanted to like make it just a hat again. But then, I don't know. It just, I feel like it really connects like our world, just like how, groups, they come together, like-minded people or whatever. And how it just becomes like a cult. I don't know, is how I view it. Like this group mentality when it's like a negative thing. Like group mentality could be great. Like we could be constructive and, but I feel like a lot of times like the group mentality thing does go down this darker spiral of toxicity, I guess.
Mhm.
I don't know if that even correlates with that, what we're supposed to talk about, but there it is.
I mean, that's a video. Give a quote. This is share a quote and central important information.
I didn't write a quote
That's okay.
down. But she
I
did not
personally have
like,
my worksheet. If you have it in your worksheet, because I'm just plugging information from mine.
oh, let me find a quote.
Mhm.
Week 7. Someone else can talk if they want, or you guys can wait for me. I don't care. But let's see.
I don't mind waiting.
Yeah, we
Okay.
can just wait.
Conflict management. Week 7. It'll load. My computer's very slow today for some reason. Maybe it's the weather. I don't know. Well, this quote that I wrote down doesn't pertain to that podcast. But this is a tough one. Avoid thinking of negotiations as the ultimate test of your worth, that your request may be accepted or denied, that none of this is a measure of your worth. That was 3 steps to get what you want in a negotiation. I liked that quote. Again, it's different from my podcast that I selected. But I think a lot of times we put our own self-worth on the opinions of others. So like if we have something like we want to say or a negotiation and it gets shut down, sometimes we're like, oh God, we're terrible. Like, oh, that was, and then all this kind of berate on ourselves, maybe thinking that we're have lower self-worth because our thing wasn't accepted, instead of just like being okay with it being denied and like move on. Like everyone has a different opinion. But I think sometimes we're a lot harder on ourselves. But if something we say is like shut down, it's not a measure of our self-worth at all. And I think that's important to remember, because people aren't going to like what we say or our opinions sometimes, and that's okay. They're entitled to their opinion, but that doesn't mean that we're not important or insignificant. Yeah. If that makes sense. If that's relevant.
Yeah.
No, I think that was good. I think I liked your thoughts on that.
Well, thank you. Kind of just pulled it out there. So
I can go next if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna be talking about week 6 because if I'm being honest, I did not do week 7 because that's when I was on my cruise. Not there yet. But the podcast in week 6 talked about like love and how people say I love you to others. And I really resonated with that because in my life, like I didn't grow up saying I love you all the time. I didn't grow up saying the word love all the time. Like that just was not said in our household. The only time we would say it to one another was like if we were going on a trip and we were going to be gone for like a week and wasn't going to see each other. We're like, oh, bye, love you. But it never was like, oh, have a good night, love you. Like, I don't know. So just like, and then I came into my boyfriend's life and he says it for everything. And I was like, that's so weird to me because that wasn't how I grew up. And in the podcast, they talk about how people have a hard time with love. And I feel like I had a hard time with love growing up because I was never really taught what love meant. Like I've always had parents that have loved each other and been together, but I've never really been taught what like the actual meaning behind like I love you was. And it also talks about how like it can help with anger and help you in like bad situations. Is like figuring out how you could love somebody even if they did something wrong. And I feel like my boyfriend's taught me a lot of that because he's grown up that way. He's grown up saying, I love you as soon as he walks out the door, or, just we finished dinner and he's like, I love you. Thank you for dinner. Like, it's just kind of a different perspective on it, but it's made me realize how to love people and how to love people in every situation and like the true meaning behind love. So I feel like I could really relate to that podcast. And then a quote that I took from that podcast was Suffering can be nothing more than a sad and sorry thing without the presence on the part of the sufferer of a graceful heart, an accepting and open heart, a heart that holds no malice towards the inflictors of his or her suffering. So it's pretty much just saying, like, love anybody no matter what they do to you. Always give them love, because even if they're angry, maybe they need that love.
Mm.
So yeah, that was my part of that.
That's great. Are we going to say something, Dyla?
Oh, you can go ahead if you're gonna say something.
Oh, okay. I feel like I talked too much, and then your little screen lit up yellow. I'm like, oh, you're going to say something? 'Cause I'm gonna be
Don't
like, I'm really glad that your boyfriend was able to kind of open that door for you. I imagine it was kind of a culture shock in a way because you're like not used to that, you know? Um, I can't imagine. I don't know. I'm a big I love you. I'm like, I don't know, hug everybody and then I love you. I probably say it too much, maybe. Like maybe in the sense where like I say I love you to someone that maybe I don't genuinely love, you know, but hey, I love you.
That's what my
I feel like there's
boyfriend does
different
too.
there's different there's a spectrum.
Right.
But I'm really glad that he was able to open that and you can experience that because it is really important to have that, I feel. And then going about your quote with like the kind of goes on this week with like forgiveness. Being able to forgive someone despite what they did, you know, for your own peace, you know. So like just loving them anyways, you know, despite what happened, whether for them or for you, you know, in your own sanity. But
For sure.
I was gonna say that I relate to you a lot. I also my family. I actually still don't think that my parents and I have ever said I love you to each other. It's just like really just like I know they love me. They know I love them. I hope. I hope so. Maybe I should say it. But it's just like super out of our norm. And I also had a partner at one point who, to his parents and stuff like that. It was just like, I love you, just walking out the door. And I was like, wow, what? But now I feel like outside of my family, I feel like I have like become like accustomed to telling like the people in my life that I love them. And I think I'm also just wondering, like, do you do you tell your friends that you love them, or is it more pertaining like to like your family, like within your family? If
Um,
that's not too personal of a question.
no, you're
Sorry.
good. I honestly don't tell anybody that I love them. And like when me and my boyfriend first got together, I'd like hang up the phone. I'd be like, okay, bye. And he's like, you're not gonna
Yeah.
tell him you love him? And I was like, what do you
yeah,
mean?
why?
Yeah. He's like, I tell everybody, no matter who I'm talking to, when I hang up the phone, I tell them I love them. And I was like, really? So
I
like
feel like I have just like go ahead.
like I don't say it to my best friend. Like I still don't really say it to people. Like I say it
Mhm.
more now, but like my sister-in-law is also very like big on like hugs and saying I love you and stuff.
Mhm.
But she knows that I'm not like big on that, so she's like, love you. I'm like, I love you too.
Like same.
Yeah.
Ditto.
Yeah. And like I understand like I need to like say it more now. Like last night I was in a situation where one of my boyfriend's best friends just had a baby. And so we like made him some food and stuff because their baby's been in the NICU. So they've been like having a hard time going back and forth and everything. And so we like took some stuff out to him because they came to the house and they're like, okay, bye guys, love you, Tiana. And I was like, do I say
Singled
it?
you out, huh?
Love you too.
But with that, making a meal for someone is an indication of love. So
I
Right.
was gonna say the same thing.
you may not have to say I love you, but your actions say that. So like
Yeah.
you have like all the different love languages, right? So acts of service is one, which shows your love. You may not have to like verbalize it. But like thinking of them like, oh, you're like taking it, like you're having a hard time, like you're probably hungry, you probably don't have the energy to cook something, let alone maybe leave your baby to go get something to eat. So to me, like that, I would, if someone did that for me, anyways, I love food. But especially in a time of like hardship, like I would feel loved, right? So whether you say it or not verbally, like your actions show that love. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, and like that's how I like grew up learning love, but like I've never really grew up saying it. But like that's also how like my friends grew up too. They never really grew up saying it.
Mhm.
So I think it's kind of like a mutual thing. But yeah, to answer your question, I don't really tell many people that I love them.
Sounds like you show them though, and I think that's
Yeah.
just as good.
I'm like
Um,
I said, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm gonna go ahead. I was just gonna answer my part, but if you have something else to add, then you can go
Well,
first.
no, go ahead.
Okay, wait. Can we
Um,
end the video real quick and then
Oh.
start a new one so then we don't have to cut you off?
yeah.
Okay. I'm
I'm
gonna
glad you caught it.
Oh, hold on. Here we go.